Right now, business is calling for transparency and swift action to be taken in light of the shocking allegations made by former Eskom CEO Andre de Ruyter. The commitment to work with government is still there, but addressing the rumours of corruption within the struggling power utility and the alleged involvement of senior officials is a serious matter which cannot be overlooked. Now, BUSA and the BLSA are calling on Eskom to look into its leadership, appoint a CEO, which they have, and a full ExCo team that, or rather, who will be held accountable for performance under their control. Now, Business Unity South Africa's CEO, Coovadia, joins us now live. Thank you very much, Mr. Coovadia, for your time here on eNCA. Now, even though a lot of people are saying that he's not a hero yet until he has given us evidence of all the allegations that he made on this channel, of course, I'm talking about Andre de Ruyter. Surely we cannot, ignore all the allegations that he's made without actually trying to investigate and find if there's any truth to it, right?
No, absolutely. And that's what we say in our statement, that these are allegations and they need to be treated as such. But they are of a very, very serious nature. They are made by somebody who was heading this organization. And we are asking government to act and to respond to those allegations with urgency and expeditiously. Government needs to investigate this. If they are found not to be true, then be transparent about the investigation and demonstrate to the public that the investigation has not found any legitimacy to those allegations. And if they are found to be true, then act swiftly against those involved, irrespective of who they are or where they sit. And that's what we're asking government to do, to restore confidence both in the organization and in the national interest.
And you know, Mr. Coovadia, today, at some point this afternoon, we're going to find out whether the country has been grey-listed. A lot of people have been saying that that's an obvious step. And of course, I know that, that committee would have decided long before we aired that interview on eNCA of Andre de Ruyter with eNCA Larson, and they would have decided long before. But surely comments like this and situations like this are what fuel the fire in terms of these committees making decisions on our economy.
Yeah, I mean, issues like this and allegations like this, if true, would send out the message that we're not actually dealing with corruption as urgently and as decisively as we should be. Send out the message that our controls for movements of monies, money laundering and so on are not as strong as they should be. And so this exacerbates the battle, certainly the Treasury and the Reserve Bank exacerbates the situation and hampers the battle that certainly Treasury and Reserve Bank have been fighting to convince the Financial Action Task Force not to grey-list us. Unfortunately, I think that train has left the station. All indications are that we will be grey-listed and we will have to manage that risk and try to get out of the listing as quickly as possible. But these sorts of allegations, these sorts of revelations, these sorts of crises simply erode confidence in our country further at a time when we need to actually instill confidence to attract investment and get our country onto a growth path.
Mr. Coovadia, we've got the sad news that South Africa has been grey-listed. So we are on a list of countries such as your South Sudan, war-torn countries. And that's how shocked I am. I actually have chills saying this to you. But that's the breaking news here on eNCA. South Africa has been grey-listed. I want to ask you question number one, your reaction as business to us being grey-listed, but the fact that we are grey-listed with Nigeria as well. These are two very powerful economies in the African continent. What does this mean for the entire continent?
Well, what it essentially says is that the continent has got some way to go in dealing with issues related to money laundering, issues related to terrorism financing, and these are the sorts of issues that the Financial Action Task Force looks at. I think to be in the same boat as Nigeria and Sudan, when we have a sophisticated first world financial sector, that with the proper regulation in place and the proper environment in place is able to actually control movements of money, The reality is that I think what the Financial Action Task Force looked at is that government has not moved quickly enough to put into place the necessary mechanisms and controls to deal effectively with corruption. We made, under President Ramaphosa, quite a lot of progress, but the Financial Action Task Force is obviously of the view that we've got a long way to go. So this is a further blow to the country, a further blow to our confidence, a big blow to the financial sector because correspondent banking relationships will be more difficult. It is bad news, although expected.
Just very quickly, Mr. Coovadia, when it comes to this particular news that we've been grey-listed, etc., when you look at it and you look at Mauritius and what happened with them being able to get out of that list within under 2 years, do you think we have the right people in government positions to be able to give us the same story as a country like Mauritius?
I think we have the right people in National Treasury in the Reserve Bank, but I don't think that's enough. We need leadership from the president down. We need leadership that says that we are not going to tolerate any sorts of signs that says that we are susceptible to corruption and money laundering and terrorism financing. And government cannot just say they will be dealing with this. We've got to be in the next year or so seen to be tightening up on those areas of controls and systems that the Financial Action Task Force would have identified in grey listing us, and we've got to move very quickly in that. But that needs significant leadership from government. It needs us to be very, very serious about clamping down on corruption, irrespective of who is involved in corruption and wherever they may be sitting.
Mr. Coovadia, thank you very much for joining us here on eNCA. That was Coovadia, Business Unity South Africa CEO. And that's the breaking news we have for you here on eNCA. South Africa has been grey-listed along with Nigeria. That means there'll be increased monitoring when it comes to our economy from the international world. And they'll be watching our government as to whether they are able to work hard enough to make sure that we get off that list.